With Captain America being betrayed by his oldest ally, Steve will need to make some new friends and quick if he ever hopes to defeat the Outer Circle. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Captain America Sentinel of Liberty issue number 7 and find out what happens next together, shall we? So then, picking up damn near almost exactly from where the last issue left off, Steve managed to pull himself out of the ocean and now he's licking his wounds both metaphorically and physically. Cap's truly feeling lost and betrayed right now, but he ends up actually finding a very unlikely shoulder to lean on in the form of Namor, who returns his shield to him from the drink. Man, the benefits of having a friend and old war buddy who's also the king of the ocean, am I right? As Namor puts it, Bucky is a trained killer and he probably could have ended Steve very easily if he wanted to. Instead, he just gave him a bum arm. And as far as trying to infiltrate the Outer Circle itself, hasn't this always kind of been Bucky's way? Steve shone so brightly, he was a symbol, but Bucky has lived almost his entire life in Steve's shadow, which isn't a bad thing because it means he can go to the dark places where Cap cannot follow. When Steve returns home to his apartment, he gets a message from Roger Aubrey, the original Destroyer, saying that he's managed to crack some more codes and he thinks he knows what the Outer Circle's next move might be. Apparently, a bunch of AIM tech has seemingly disappeared from the black market, which is concerning to say the least. And hey, if you read that Winter Soldier special tie-in issue, you would know that the Power's next move actually involved AIM, so everything seems to be coming together, and indeed it continues to as this issue progresses. Steve decides to look for some clues at Bucky's old apartment, only to find the entire place already cleaned out by the time he got there, except for one strange red crystal though. Bucky obviously left it for Steve to find, which once again goes to show that even though he shot him, they're not exactly enemies right now. Steve waits a little bit to make his next move, but when he attempts to return home, he can't shake the feeling that someone's following him, and indeed someone is. That person is revealed to be none other than Sharon Carter rolling back into his life after her important CIA mission came to a close. This is important for two reasons. One, again, if you read that special Winter Soldier tie-in, you'll know that Bucky's move was to actually have Sharon Carter roll back into Steve's life, which confirms that the CIA is just another one of the many pieces on the Century Games board that they can influence. But also, we actually learn what Sharon Carter's special CIA mission was. Apparently, she's been hunting down codename Nomad, aka Ian Rogers, aka Steve's adopted son from Zola World that he assumed was dead. Which, again, in another wonderful piece of connective tissue, if you've been reading the Sam Wilson Captain America book, you'll know that Nomad is not only alive, but he's actually teamed up with Sam on his newest mission. Sharon and Steve spend the night together, getting reacquainted with one another, but in the morning it's actually Sharon who kicks Steve in the butt to get out of his funk and get back to work. If taking out the Outer Circle and getting Bucky back means having to move around in the dark, it looks like Steve is going to have to recruit some old friends who aren't afraid of getting their hands dirty. Yep, that's right everyone, it's a brand new Secret Avengers complete with some familiar faces. We got Clint Barton Hawkeye, we got Black Widow Natasha Romanoff, we got Nick Fury Jr., who I'm sure is happy to be involved now that S.H.I.E.L.D. hasn't been a thing for so long. We got the returning redacted robot who, much like Bucky, was a Starpoint enforcer for the Outer Circle but has since actively turned against them. As well as perhaps most interestingly of all, the new youthful Peggy Carter, aka Dryad, who again, if you read that Winter Soldier special issue, you'll know is actually a double agent working for Steve but also receiving messages from Bucky. Captain America gets his brand new team up to speed on who exactly their enemy is, the Outer Circle, a bunch of World War I war profiteering oligarchs, who have managed to not only cheat death but steer all of human history for centuries, including the creation of Captain America's own shield. And they might just have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for the brave Wakandan metallurgist to actually put the group's symbol on Cap's shield, in doing so creating a centuries-long riddle for Steve to unpack, and indeed that's exactly what he's doing right now. Now what about that red stone? Well, here's a fun bit of connection. Turns out it comes from space, but moreover than that, it's actually connected to Armin Zola and his rocket plot from back in the Captain America Zero issue. Yeah, I'd almost forgotten about that too. The Outer Circle was pulling Zola's strings as well, and the group now thinks it might have something to do with this brand new AIM movement they're seeing. Cap and his team think they'll have what they need by Wednesday, and then the comic actually jumps ahead to Friday where Captain America comes to in a field somewhere in Kansas. He can't remember how he got there or how exactly the mission went horribly wrong, but it seems that New York may very well have already fallen as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Captain America Sentinel of Liberty issue number 7, everybody, and once again this book just continues to bring the heat. It's a fun and exciting superhero spy game that touches on just about every aspect of Captain America's history, from fighting in World War II as an invader to being an Avenger. Brings in characters that don't really have books right now, like Nick Fury Jr. and like Black Widow, who I always like to see. Gives Bucky a new, nuanced, and complex role, something he hasn't had in the Captain America oeuvre for a very long time right now, and they managed to sidestep the problem of him just being a villain by instead making him a very sympathetic character who made the wrong choice for the right reason in the heat of the moment and now has to deal with the decision that he made. Overall, I'd give this one a very strong 9 out of 10. This is good stuff. This is probably one of the best eras to be reading Captain America in a very long time, and if you're not checking out this one, you're doing yourself a disservice. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.